Minimalists.
No matter what I do, I find it difficult to curb the urge to compulsively shop, especially on groceries. I've tried shopping fasts and wish lists, but they only help slightly. The only thing that really curbs it is in-person time with people I care about, but doing that on a regular basis isn't possible for me at this time. I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do. I feel like I need Shopaholics Anonymous.
Yeah, maybe you might.
Maybe you do, yeah.
And see, the problem is you're saying this in jest, and that's actually what made me look up Shopaholic. I'm like, is this an actual thing? Because I was familiar with the term, obviously, and it's used pejoratively, like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm like an alcoholic, but for shopping. Yeah, we are. We are that way, and it's okay. There's no shame in alcoholism.
No.
There's no shame in shopaholicism. Shopaholism? Whatever it is, there's no shame in shopping addiction, right? It's as soon as we begin to understand it, though, that's when these things can go away. Now, I will say, Ryan, we were talking a moment ago about the stories that we tell ourselves, the excuses we tell ourselves. And one excuse I have here from Shanti, and maybe it's true for her, doing that on a regular basis, meaning spending time with people in person, she says, doing that on a regular basis isn't possible for me at this time. Is that true? And if it's not true, maybe it's more difficult for you at this time.
Yeah.
And maybe it has to do with pandemics, or maybe it has to do with declining health or whatever. I understand. But how can I do that now? Because you've already understood the why. The why for you is I go shopping when I feel disconnected. Johan Hari, who we've had on the podcast, talks about the 9 causes of depression, and one of them is being disconnected from human beings. So maybe the reason that you are shopping is because you feel so disconnected, and this is a way for you to try to become connected with the world around you. We try to be trendy so we become significant to other people. We try to get other people to appreciate us through our status symbols and the things that we acquire. We try to be a better person by buying better things. But that doesn't fix what we're actually missing. What we're missing in this case with Shanti is we're missing connection, human connection. We're missing the relationships in our lives. And repairing the relationship with the stuff often happens on its own once we've repaired our relationship with the people in our lives.
It sounds like she can't not afford to be with other people. Can you contract that? CAN''NT''NT?
Yes, you can.
Can't. Well, but in all seriousness, it's like when I hear someone talk about, buying organic food or healthy food is too expensive.
Right.
And it's like, okay, like I get that, the monetary cost of it. However, the long-term health effects, like you really can't not afford to like get the health, because it's going to cost you in the long run anyway. It's going to cost
much
you
more.
Right. With healthcare costs. So yeah, I mean, I would challenge Shanti to, instead of shutting herself down and saying, oh, I can't do this at this time, it's okay, well, what can you do? What are the things you can, put aside? What can you say no to in order to say yes to having more connection with people? And I don't want to be, apathetic to Shanti's situation. Maybe she truly can't for some reason. But I think that's more of an exception than it is like the rule. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Be careful with the stories you tell yourself, because even if they aren't true, they become true to you.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Shanti, with the groceries, because she said especially on groceries is where she's having the difficulty. You taught me this, Milburn, where you go to the grocery store with a list and you get everything that's on the list.
And nothing else.
And nothing else. And let's say you accidentally forgot to put rice on the list. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to come back. You're creating friction to have to come back and get that rice at a different time with a different list.
Yes.
But that's just one example of the different, and we've talked about a lot of different ways to create friction, but that's what Shanti needs to do. So have some relationships with real life people, but then also find ways to create friction. She said, I tried shopping fast and wish list, but they help only slightly. Hey, slight help is better than no help.
That's right. And also, those things help only when you get to the why. So you've already identified the why now. The why is I feel disconnected, so I'm shopping. Now that you understand that, these things that help slightly, they're going to help you so much more because you've understood the nature of the problem.
Did you enjoy this video? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalists Private Podcast available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists today. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.